Let's face it, there is something nibbling at your heart deep down right now. There is something that's eating you from inside, and you don't quite know what. And you've tried a lot of things, but none of them worked. And it's quite difficult for you right now. And you feel like there is no hope. But I must assure you that there is hope if you start forgiving yourself, because that's the today's topic. And I want to tell you that this is the first step, showing love towards yourself. Then the second step is showing love towards others, because according to Buddhism, everyone is a reflection of ourselves, There is no duality. And I'm sure you're familiar with this concept if you watch my videos. Jesus Christ also used to preach similar things. And it's very useful because I'm sure you've noticed this in your life. If you have enough power of attention directed inwards, that as soon as you give up and forgive, things start to go easier and you adapt freely to life, and you become like a river, that flows where it's easy. Because if you have a lot of resentment, it might feel like there is a black hole inside your soul, draining you energetically and making you stiff and tense. In my experience, especially as a teenager, when I was very unhappy, depressed, angry, and I used to despise all people around me, almost everybody, and I had few friends. So it was very hard for me to live this way until I had a sort of tipping point, a sort of mental breakdown where my depression just hit the rock bottom, and I had a shock, and I realized that it would be more beneficial for me to give up and show some compassion, because if you have a lot of hatred, you can also turn that emotion into affection and use it to your own good, And I've also learned how to give up a little bit my ego and accept life as it is and forgive. And I'll tell you another story related to this concept. I had a deep relationship with my grandma, who was a very strong-willed woman who thought that her moral code should be accepted by everyone, and that if she had a good intent, then that automatically meant that her actions were good and that she was allowed to impose her volition on those around her. And that used to cause a lot of friction between us. But overall, we had a good relationship with its ups and downs. However, during the last years of her life, before she unexpectedly passed out, because you never know when someone is going to die, even if they are old. And by the way, she had a very strong heart, both mentally and physically, and she could have lived more, but she had a little accident, so she died at 85, which is strange, which is still a long life. And during her last days, our relationship became very, very tense, and we lost that bond that we had previously. And I paid attention that when your bond that you have with someone close to you breaks, it means a lot of pain for you, and it drains you emotionally, especially if you are an empath like I am, and you are very sensitive to other people's energy and vibration, because those who are close to you, they know how to break your shield. You are defenseless against them, so they are liable to hurt you, because you are open and vulnerable. So that made me sad to some extent. And even though we reconciled afterward, our connection never became the same. Because we didn't have enough time to spend with each other, and we lost a lot of trust. And it's difficult to build that, especially when you lose it with someone who had a very good opinion about you for a long time. But after a lot of unfortunate events, they lose it. And it's very troublesome to build something after that. It requires time to heal, and we didn't have it. And in retrospective, I realized that I haven't forgiven her some things, and that has become a burden for me in some way, and it drains me, and it makes me less relaxed than I am. And it's difficult to do that because she's no longer with us, and the only way that I can remedy that is to look inside myself and to accept her mentally, and perhaps you went through something similar in your life, I don't know, but I would advise you to forgive yourself first, and that will give you power to have the same attitude towards others, although that might sound counterintuitive in some way.